Not everybody has the ability to focus on the game for 10 hours a day, but throwing it up on a second monitor and AFKing while you get some work done is a great way to make some passive GP or gain some XP. And with that in mind, welcome to AFKing 9 to 5. Fellas, welcome back to my AFKing series. Normally in one of these videos, I'd pick one activity and do it for 8 hours today, but today I'm switching it up. I'll be doing 8 different activities for 1 hour each. These are all skilling methods that I wanted to showcase, but I didn't think they could really make a standalone video. So for this one, I'll be showing you the methods, explaining the rates, and giving you a recommendation on each one. So let's get started. First, let's talk about a classic, making cannonballs. And yes, I am using the regular mold instead of the double mold, but don't worry, I'll be showing you the double mold at the end of this video. When we do any smithing activity, we need to talk about the choice of the furnace. This might seem so insignificant, but when we do something hundreds, if not thousands of times, the smallest amount of time saved per inventory can really add up over time. The closest furnace to any bank in the game is actually in Shiloh Village. This furnace is only 10 tiles or about 3 seconds away from the bank, but this one requires the elite Karamja diary, so I won't be using it for this video. Instead, I'll be using Edgeville, so everybody can get an accurate rate. This activity used to be so common for alts, but Cannonballs has really been outclassed in recent years. But they are very AFK and have really low requirements, being only 35 smithing and partial completion of the dwarf cannon, so I could see why some people are still doing it. Using a regular cannonball mold, you can AFK for about 2.5 minutes per inventory, so that is very nice. But over the course of 1 hour, I gained 14.2k XP and made 2,212 cannonballs. This is a profit of 151k for the hour, and if we did it for the entire day, we would gain 113.6k smithing XP and make 1.2 million GP. This one's alright. I think it really depends on why you're doing it, but I personally wouldn't recommend this one unless you really need that extra AFK time and you don't have the ability to get the double mold. Next, while we're still in Edgeville, I'll be making Dragonstone Bracelets. This is a skilling method that has multiple tiers, since almost every piece of gold jewelry is somewhat profitable. For this video specifically, I'll be focusing on just bracelets, so the requirements will vary, but for this particular method, you'll need 74 crafting, as well as a decent amount of starting cash. In 1 hour, I made 1,183 bracelets, which cost me 13.3 mil in supplies, but they sold for 13.9 mil, meaning this was 600k profit per hour. And to be honest, this is actually closer to 500k after the GE tax, so you kind of need to be wary about that when doing a skilling method that has a large buy-in price. In my hour, I also gained 130k crafting XP, which is pretty damn good if you ask me. The only real downside to this one is the AFK time. It is very rough. It is not very long at all. It was maybe 25 seconds per inventory. Thankfully, I'm not really doing that much at work today. It's pretty chill, so I was able to do this one. If you are working, this really isn't one I can recommend just for the low AFK time. If you're doing this on a day off or on a weekend, this is a great one for getting some crafting levels, making money, and working towards 99 crafting. And to wrap this second one up, I can do some basic math to give you information in the form of a table. This table is just showing you your estimated profits, your estimated XP, and even your buy-in price for each tier of bracelet. This information is on a per hour basis, but I think all of them are viable for a variety of different levels. Hello, it's me. I'm sorry for pausing the video, but I realized I didn't say anywhere in this video that if you are doing a skilling method where you need to spend a lot of money before you start making money, you need to check the profit margin. This can be done really easily using a site like GE Tracker. Just look at the finished product price versus the input price. You could also just use the built-in plugin to RuneLite to look at the GE on the side, or use another site like CalcuSource. Just don't dump your bank before you know how much you're actually going to make. RuneScape has a live economy, so you always need to be wary of that. But one way to make sure you never lose money is by subscribing. It's free! Next, we'll be moving away from making money and looking at a pure XP getting method. This one is awesome for one reason. It's a true 25-minute AFK method. With the release of Desert Treasure 2, we got a new boss, the Duke. During this boss fight, you need to prep 2 potions to wake him up, but if we completely ignore the boss fight and just mine the salt, we can AFK for 25 minutes uninterrupted. This will scale slightly based on your pickaxe and mining level, but if you're above 80 mining and using a dragon pickaxe, you can expect about 10.8k mining XP per hour fully AFK. You'll only need to click on your game client 4 times in an hour to make sure you keep mining, but that is 86.4k for a full workday with almost 0 interaction. This is a weird one. It's good for the fact that it's completely AFK, but the XP rate is pretty slow overall. I would probably recommend this one if you're between level 80 and 92 and really need something AFK. This is good for before you can mine Amethyst, which is a pretty similar XP rate, but obviously by doing Amethyst, you get similar XP and make a ton more money during the process. Continuing on to our next activity without leaving the Ice Prison entirely, I'll be mining Ancient Essence right next to the Phantom Muspa entrance. This is another weird one. The only thing I can recommend is that if you decide to do this one, don't use a crystal pickaxe as it will consume your charges, making this almost negative GP per hour. These veins have a mining requirement of 75, and the amount of essence you'll get will scale based on your mining level. So at 75 to 77, you'll get 1 to 2 essence each time. At 78 to 89, you'll get 2 to 3, and at 90 to 99, you'll get 3 to 4 per each one mined. I do have 99 mining, so keep that in mind, but I mined 2,414 essence for a total profit of 64k this hour. I also gained a whopping 10.6k XP, which is very similar to the salt we just mined, but the difference is that this method is only decently AFK. The way the veins work here is that they move randomly, and I say that very loosely. They randomly move to a different vein every 60 to 90 seconds, but I timed my first 10 attempts here, and it was very consistently about 75 seconds. To be completely honest, this one sucks. I'd really only recommend this one if you're an Iron Man with some downtime who still needs to upgrade the imbued heart, and you don't want to kill Muspa for whatever reason. Staying in our mining gear, I'll be moving on to Daeyalt Essence in Darkmire. This stuff is interesting because it's technically not worthwhile to mine essence for runecrafting because it will take you longer to mine in runecraft instead of just runecrafting with the regular essence, but I'm fully trusting this Reddit post about Daeyalt Essence. The basic math is that it will take you longer to get your desired RC XP, but instead of runecrafting 100% of the time, you'll be AFK mining for a portion of it, which results in less runs to the altar overall. So this method is bad for EHP, but good for AFK. In 1 hour, I gathered 4,626 shards, which convert 1-to-1 with essence, and to be honest, I'm a bit of a donkey and I didn't take a screenshot of the experience gained, but this will let me explain how mining it works, so I guess it's okay. When you mine Daeyalt, you'll get 2 to 3 shards per successful action. So this will average out to about 2.5 shards per action, and if you were to mine the same amount of shards as I did, that would be 1,850 actions, meaning this is about 9.2k mining XP per hour. Your mining level does not affect the amount of shards mined, but you do need at least 60 mining to do this activity. And although the mining level doesn't affect the rate, the pickaxe does, so you'll definitely want to use a dragon pickaxe if you decide to do this activity to cut down your overall runecrafting time. This one is kind of up in the air. It's either good or bad depending on the type of playstyle you have. If you're like me and would prefer to do some more AFK mining than active runecrafting, it's pretty good. I'm really not a huge fan of runecrafting, but AFK mining is alright in my book. I'd probably do this one at least a little bit if I was doing 99 RC again. The next activity was actually recommended to me in the comments of a previous episode. So if you have anything you'd want to see in one of these videos, please let me know. I basically have a Google Doc and I just keep adding in almost everything I see in the comments. If it can't work as a standalone video, it'll probably show up in a video like this in the future. But the next one is casting Plank Make. Plank Make has been a known AFK method for a very long time, and it's pretty damn good for both profit and XP. For my hour, I decided to make mahogany planks, but I believe all tiers of logs are profitable outside of the regular planks. And obviously the amount of GP you'll make will go up and down based on what type of plank is in demand currently. I would guess for about 95% of the game's lifespan, mahogany planks have been the go-to, and I think it will continue this way for the foreseeable future. Using plank make costs less than running to the sawmill if you ignore the cost of runes. So technically just making planks at the sawmill is more profit per plank, but doing it that way won't grant you any magic XP and is nowhere near as AFK. So I'm gonna guess this will be your preferred method. Plank Make is a spell on the Lunar Spellbook that requires level 86 magic, as well as the completion of the Dream Mentor quest. When doing this, you should use any staff that gives you unlimited earth runes. In my AFK hour, I made 916 planks, so my buy-in cost was almost 1.5 mil, but the value of the planks was close to 2 mil. After GE tax, this makes this about 400k profit per hour for a very chill method that requires only like 5 clicks every minute and a half. I also gained 82.4k magic XP for the hour, so this is a very strong method to finish up those last couple magic levels and make you some pretty good money. If you were to cast Plank Make for an entire workday, you would need at least 12 million GP in starter cash, but you'd end the day with 3.2 million GP as profits, as well as gaining 660,000 magic XP. This is a very good one, and I'd highly recommend it for any workday. And while we're still here standing at the bank, I figured this would be a good video to throw in Fletching Longbows. Fletching Longbows is a classic and very nostalgic thing for a lot of people, myself included. And unsurprisingly, it's actually a pretty good fletching method as well as a good moneymaker. All tiers of logs are profitable, which is kind of nuts, so you can do this at pretty much any fletching level, with the highest profit per log actually coming from U logs. I wanted to focus on getting XP instead of GP, so I decided to do my hour with magic logs, which require 85 fletching. I am sorry that this screenshot is a little bit wonky, but the XP per hour was 163.6k. I just kind of took the screenshot like a minute after the hour ended, so it made it look kind of weird. In that hour, I cut 1,788 magic longbows, costing me about 1.8 million GP in magic logs, but the profit came out to be a whopping 40k. And after GE tax, it was pretty close to barely breaking even. So at this point in time, I really can't recommend magic logs. But if we look at other tiers of logs, similar to how we looked at bracelets, there are a lot of good options. It's just picking and choosing what's more important to you at the current time. Is it GP? Is it XP? Or maybe it's the buy-in price. The AFK time for this activity is the exact same regardless of what tier of log you choose, and it is a beautiful 1 minute and 40 seconds per inventory, so that is another plus for this one. And honestly, this is another one that I would recommend to anyone who wants some fletching XP without losing a ton of money. And finally, we return to Cannonballs. This time I'll actually be using the Prifddinas Furnace, which is slightly closer than Edgeville, but I'll also be using the double Cannonball mold. Cannonballs are even better with the double mold, and are still quite AFK with really low requirements, again being only 35 smithing. This time you'll need completion of Sleeping Giants for the double mold, as well as partial completion of the Dwarf Cannon to obviously make the Cannonballs. You'd expect this to be exactly double what a single mold can offer, but AFK activities are fickle. If you're a little too AFK, you can lose some XP, and it is what it is. In my hour of double cannonball making, I made 4,248 cannonballs and gained 27.2k XP. This one cost me 437k in steel bars, leaving me with a profit of 288k for the hour. This activity would make you 2.3 mil for a full day of AFK, which is pretty damn good even in 2023, as well as gaining 217k smithing XP, which again is pretty damn good for an AFK method. The AFK time when using a double mold gets cut in half from the regular mold because, well, obviously you're using twice as many bars per action, so the AFK time was roughly 1 minute and 15 seconds per inventory. And those were the 8 AFK activities I decided to do today. If you want to see another episode like this in the future, please let me know in the comments, and please let me know what I should try. Thank you so much to my YouTube channel members, Snacks, Jujo, and iTalk. In the next episode of AFKing 9 to 5, I think I'll be rune crafting. No guarantees yet, but subscribe so you don't miss it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, but I've got nothing left to say, so I'll see you in the next one.